Hey guys, half a day. It's been a while since I've done a later live stream, but like I said, my goal for this month is to try and go live every day with an absolute minimum of 30 minutes. So, for those of you guys that join me tonight or even watching this as a replay, Situ Masi for doing that. You're going to have me or be with me for at least 30 minutes. So I do hope you're going to hang around and check out what I'm going to do. But in case you didn't see, um, with I don't have a picture for the thumbnail, but for the title for this tonight's live stream is "Let's Try Something New or Different." And if you were on my previous live stream from the day before, I did talk about this. I did talk about that I wanted to make um, a different attempt in making our own flowers. And the flowers that I'm going to try and make really are going to represent the plumeria, which not only is it found in tropical islands like Hawaii or even the Philippines, but also in Guam. They have them in white, they have them in pink. But the one that I remember the most growing up in Guam are the white ones. So I'm going to attempt to make my own. But you'll see the silk flowers and even the foam flowers that they're made in a whole bunch of different colors. So I'm actually going to be trying. There you go. You can see that it's pink. That it's going to be there, a pink color. This foam. So I kind of already made, or at least I tried to make my own. What do you call these things again? I can be so at loss for words. So I apologize. But it is kind of like my mold, my cutouts. So all I have to do is trace them on the foam board and then cut them out. Um, I'm not the best tracer or cutter, and I don't know if you can see this. Hi, Lily. And hi, we got a fish. Half a day, everybody. I do hope that you guys will stay for a few minutes and watch as I try to make my own flower out of foam. So the things that I have with me, once I want to cut out, as you can see, there's at least 5 petals on the flower. So I've already got one cut out. I need to cut out at least 4 more pieces. And I was just saying that I'm not the best tracer when it comes to, I kind of got big hands, so they are getting in the way when I'm trying to do the cutout. So if I go silent, it's really just me trying to concentrate. All right, so that's 2. And I'm trying to keep them as close as possible so that way I can use as much of the foam as I can. And as soon as I'm done cutting out these pieces, I'll show you the other tools I'll be using to make these. All right, so that's 3. I have enough to trace one more on this spot, and then I have to go up from a different angle. And then this gives me a chance to practice, and hopefully I can get better. I can make these as gifts for my family. Well, thanks for popping in, Lily. I can turn these into gifts. And if I get really good, then it can be another craft item that I can eventually sell. All right. So I've got one that's already cut out, and then I've got 4 that I've already traced on there. So now we are going to go ahead and cut these out. And with the help of TikTok and YouTube University, that's where I was able to get a better idea, because I attempted to make my own flowers like 5 years ago. So, and I thought they were just okay. I thought they were just okay. Well, that is so sweet of you to think Betty Boop. No, I just love wearing Betty Boop t-shirts. I tell my family, my husband, my kids that if y'all want ideas for my birthday, for Christmas, I tell them Betty Boop t-shirts. Of course, then I get Betty Boop purses and car accessories. And I'm fine with that. I like that. It's kind of like what my siblings and I did for my mom. She loves Elvis. She loves, the music, his music. But we took it a step further and started getting her, just like my family does with Betty Boop stuff, beyond t-shirts. So, aw, thank you. Si Du's Ma'asi. That's how we say thank you in Chamorro. I appreciate that. But what I'm trying to do is this month, in case you didn't already hear, this month my channel hits 2 years on YouTube. So my goal for this month is to go live every day with an absolute minimum of 30 minutes. So with you guys that are here right now and hanging out with me, I truly, truly appreciate that. So probably should have brought my glasses up here. All right, so one more to cut out. So like I said, I had my own piece that I cut up, used with not the cardboard, but it's the thicker paper. Cardstock. I used a cardstock, so then that way it was easier for me to make traces on the foam before I cut them out. Because prior to that, all I did was take a petal and trace that one out first. And then, what do you call that? Continued on using the other cutout. I do have, other than regular scissors, that have the different, when I tried crafting, making my own, you startled me. Did you see me? I didn't even hear him open the door. That was my husband.
That's why I have to be your security, see?
Okay, this was my first cutout, and look at that. Look at the bottom piece compared. Every time I cut them out, they're a little bit different. The bases are a little thicker, so I definitely have to clean that up. Yeah, I might have to cut out one more because this one is just a little too small. Germany. We lived in Germany. We were stationed there for 3 years. We loved it out there. It's beautiful. Just like when we were stationed in England. We really enjoyed our time out there as well. All right, so let's do one more cutout. Because that first cutout was just too far off. All right. So let's try that again. But I know eventually I'll be able to use not just regular scissors, but I'll be able to use even the ones that have the different shapes on them. So it will create different edges as you cut instead of a straight cut. Because just like, especially when I want to work on making a hibiscus flower, as you can see, the petals, they're not a straight line on them or a straight cut like the plumeria. Those are more straight cut. So having the scissors that already have a shape to it makes it just a little bit easier instead of having, you know, to create the different edges by waving your scissors around as you're cutting them. All right. If you guys are hearing other people talking, it's because I try to support my YouTube community. And I've got 2 other channels playing on my computer. So if you're hearing a little bit other background noise, that's where that's coming from. Betty Boop, thank you. I have like 24 at least different type of Betty Boops. Majority of it is a black t-shirt though. I love wearing black t-shirts, but I have it in white, I have it in red, I have it in beige, tan, but I have a lot more a black t-shirt of Betty Boop. My daughter, for my birthday, she actually got me a baseball jersey of Betty Boop. It's white. It's great. I love it. But again, it's white. So I have to really pick and choose on the occasions I wear that. Okay. So from what I saw, or let me just show you guys real quick, the other things I'll be using with when I'm trying to attempt to make a plumeria using foam pieces is I have an iron, and the idea with the iron is that we're supposed to, you know, put it up against it. It'll soften up the foam enough for you to be able to shape it. Right? It would be. That's why I'm afraid to wear my white shirts, especially when I do gig work, you know, doing deliveries. But when you put it up to the heat, it actually softens up the foam and you're able to shape it, like to give it a little bit of a lip, or if I want to bend it, because as you can see, the petals of the plumeria kind of bend out, and it has a little bit of a lip right here. So that using an iron or a hot plate of some kind that you can press this up against will help to be able to mimic these characteristics of the petals. And then to glue them together, I'll be using my handy dandy glue stick. So this will be my first time actually using an iron for, and I don't know if yeah, I have it down too low. So I have to wait for that to heat up. I probably should cut out one more, you know, as a backup if I mess this up. So I'm going to cut out one more. I'm going to trace out one more. Or better yet, I can even just practice on the one that I made it too small. But better be safe than sorry. I'm going to cut out just one more. But the 2 channels that I'm talking about that I have streaming on my laptop right now, the first one is Tornado Garden. Awesome guy. He does delivery like I do. He crafts, he cooks. He also does the meat puppet deliveries. if you guys know what we mean. Hey, Mario, half a day. He does meat puppet deliveries as well. All right, so we're cutting out an extra petal in case I mess it up. And then I'm going to practice. My first petal is going to be on the one that I cut out too small. But as we know with nature, when it comes to as beautiful as the plumeria flowers are, they're all not going to be even in size or anything like that. So you're going to have some petals that are more curved than others. Of course, this is a silk flower, but even with Mother Nature, they're not going to be perfect. All right, so the idea is, okay, I don't think it's hot enough. Okay, give that a minute. Let me see. All right, so again, to try and mimic the flower, let me put this over there. Let me bring you guys down here. Oh, all right. Okay. So again, this is the goal. This is the goal. I probably didn't make the idea really with this part here is, you know, I'm gonna try and bend it right here, and then I'm also gonna try and curve this part out a little bit like that. But I'm gonna also try and heat up the edge right here so I can create a little bit of a lip. And like I said, this is, where is that? No, this is the small one. But I don't have the rest of my tools that I need to make the base part. Usually I would have a wire, and then I would have the green tape, the floral tape that you would find. And that's where I will stick the wire through here, and then I would use the floral tape and I'll wrap it around there. So then you can take that, it'll be bendable, and you can stick it in your ear and whatnot. But really the goal is just to make this portion here. All right, let me check to see again if, why isn't it? All right. Turn that off. Let me turn it on. I didn't think we want it too hot. That was the thing that I didn't see in some of the videos that I watched, was how hot they make the iron. All I know is that they'd be able to put, I watch them, all they're doing really is just tapping the petal up against the metal. So I don't know. I didn't see. I guess I should have asked. How hot am I supposed to make this? How hot am I supposed to make the iron? Now I've seen some people actually use the flat iron. You know, especially if I had the mini, the travel kind, that would be able to, you know, make it easier to do this part here, to just heat it from both sides and to be able to form it that way. But all right, come on, heat up. Why isn't it heating up? Maybe there was a reason why I stopped using this iron. I don't think I have any water in it. It's one of those that if you add water to it, it provides a steam, but I have the steam portion turned off. I don't need the steam. It's only just warm. Why is it only just warm? I need it to be more than warm. Okay, this isn't going well. And do I want it that high? Oh, that was interesting. It goes to show how often I'm using this because, is that Nieces? Hey, Nieces! Thank you for popping in. I've still got Terry on the laptop, but it goes to show how often I'm using an iron, because once I put it to where I'm getting ready to iron something, this light back here stopped flashing and now it's heating up. Yeah, I'd be funny like that. All right, but we always got to be careful whenever you're dealing with heat. You don't want it to be too hot. All right, all I saw them do. All right, the first thing I'm going to try and do with this practice petal is I'm just going to heat up the edge so I can create a little bit of a lip like you see here, how it has that little of a lip right there on the corner. So let's try it. All right. So oh, it looks like Terry's home. She's crafting. All right, so with that heat, now I created a little bit of a lip. I probably should have tried to bend this part here first. So let me heat up that side. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Somebody's happy to have mommy home. All right, and then now we're just going to try and create the curve. See? So look at that. There's the before, and then there's the after. So there's the before and there's the after. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat this edge again so I can create the lip. All right. All I'm doing is kind of pinching it to create a little bit of the lip. All right, so now I'm going to take this, because as you see in the flower, it does have quite the curve right here. So now I'm going to take this, the base of the petal, and put it up against the iron to heat that up. And then do the same thing. I'm really just trying to bend this part of the petal. And there, and it's got the little bit of a lip. All right, so that was the practice petal. That's the practice petal. Well, let's see if I can do it for real. All right, so there's my 5 petals. All right, here we go. So first, I'm going to actually start with the base, the end of the petal. I'm pressing it against the iron right there on the base. And then I'm just going to stretch it a little bit and bend it. So now it goes from the straight to the curved. Let me do it again. Bend it, heat it up just a little bit more longer. All right, so now I've got a nice bend. And now we're going to do the main petal. All right. Again, same thing. I'm just going to pull on it a little bit and curve the petal. So again, so it's going from a flat to the curve. I probably need to heat it up just a little bit more. And I'm just pressing it from the other side. All right. I lost a little bit of the bend right there. Part because of the way I was holding it. All right, now I'm going to try the edge. All right, I heated up the edge. Let's see if we can get a little bit of that lip going. All right, petal number 2. So again, I'm going to try the tip of the base of the petal. So I got that little hanging piece right there. And now I'm going to heat up the back part of the petal so I can get it to curve a little bit. Curve. Like I said, I don't have the iron too hot, but I definitely can feel the heat. All right. Let's curve. All right. So another curved petal. Probably could heat that up just one. All right. So let's see. I've got it there. All right. So now I'm going to get the edge right here. I'm having to be very careful so I don't touch the iron itself. And create a little bit of that lip. And I'm trying to make sure I keep the curve on the, because that's, I don't know how that, I don't know if I should have my iron a little warmer, because the curve is still there. The curve is still there, but all right, so that's 2 petals. All right, let's do the end piece. Heat that up. So there's that. All right. And now we're going to do the curve this way. All right. So it does soften up the foam, but you don't want to leave it on there too long to where it's going to melt it. See, it looks nice when I initially start to curve it like that. I mean, it's still kind of holding on to the curve. Thank you, nieces. All right. So now I just need to create the little bit of a lip right here. All I'm doing is folding in the edge to create that bit of a lip. This time with this third petal, instead of heating it up from the back right here, I actually put the petal in the front so I can heat up just this edge. So I'm not taking away from the curve, because that's what I was facing with these other two. When I'm heating up this edge here to create the lip, I think that's how I was kind of affecting the curve. All right, so that's 3. 2 more to go. All right, so we're gonna start with the base of the petal. And on the last one, I'll point the camera, or I'll bring the iron closer to the phone so you guys can see what I'm doing. So I'm just giving it a little pull to help create that bend right there. All right, let's do the back side. All right, again, giving it a little pull and helping to create that curve. All right, so now to create that lip, instead of putting it against the iron from this point so it doesn't affect the curve, now I'm just I'm putting the heat right here. So I'm not messing with the curve. And then just give it a little bit of a fold and pinch. Tiny fold, tiny pinch. All right, so that's 4. Last one. Let me bring my iron closer so you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm tilting it to make sure that the heat stays on, because I guess it's one of those that it automatically starts to shut off. Okay, so we're gonna work on the end piece of the petal first, and all I do is put it on the edge. I'm not making contact. My fingers are not making contact with the iron. So please, if you're going to do this, be very careful. And right now I do not have it on hot. And then I'm actually bending it along the corner. So really when I'm putting it against the hot plate, why don't you use a hair? What'd you say? A hair dryer? I thought about that because I do have my own heater over there, the hot air gun, but too noisy. And this is a lot quicker. All right, so we got that. Now what I'm going to do is heat up this side and this side of the main petal, so it'll be easier for me to do the curve on them. So again, I'm not making any real contact with the flat part of the iron. It's all the foam that's making contact, and it's seconds at a time. I have the iron closer to me. Okay, and then from there, I gently pull on it as I start to curve it. The first one I did, I was messing with this part, so I was pulling it back up. So I'm trying not to do that, lose that bend right there. And there's the curve. Now, what I was doing initially on the practice one was I was going back to the iron and trying to heat up the edge that way, which was affecting the curve. So by the third petal, I actually was taking just this edge right here, the edge that I'm going to bend, and that's what's making contact with the iron. So I just take that part, press it against the iron for a few seconds, and then again, just a little fold, a tiny fold, and a tiny pinch. Oh, Terry's leaving. Good night, Terry. All right, so now we just got tornado playing. All right, so there's that. So now that's the fifth petal. All right, so I'm going to move this iron away from me. And again, that's our goal, is to at least get this part done. I don't have my tools with me to finish the stem and the wire. So then that way I can show you how to use it after it's put together. But my glue gun has been on, so that's nice and warm. And from what I've seen on the videos, all they're doing really is just a small line tracing, and the goal is just to connect small, not large pieces of them, because as you can see with the silk flower, there's pretty good space between them, but because I didn't make the end piece long, so yeah, this is just my practice run, so y'all that are here watching this right now will get an idea. So ultimately, and I don't really want to glue the stems just yet down there, because once I get this together, so see if I can temporarily put them together. So it's supposed to be like that. And then once this part is put together like that, isn't that cute? Then I'm supposed to be able to bring it together and ultimately something like this. And it's not going to be that space like you're seeing it now. I've got to make sure there's enough space like you see in the silk flower. There's actually to where, like, if I wanted to put a gem or something like that in the centerpiece, I gotta have room there to be able to stick the wire through as well. But okay, let me try that again. So just like that. And then, gotta make contact. And then, like that. And then, oops, like that. I gotta make sure I'm not getting, and I'll tell you right now, just looking at it, even though it's not glued and I haven't brung it around, just the way this looks right here, it's a lot better than my very, very first attempt, like almost 5 years ago, or about 5 years ago or so. Maybe even 6 or 7. It's been a long time since I've actually tried to make. All right, here we go. I'm a little nervous because I don't want to, I want it to come out okay. It doesn't have to be great, but I want it to come out okay. So I probably should have used my smaller glue gun, because this is the bigger one. And I do have a small one. Come on. There we go. I don't know if you guys can see what I'm doing. There we go. Probably waiting too long. It's not gonna. I don't want to put too much, because then you're going to see too much glue coming out on the backside, and that I don't want that. I'll have to clean that up. Yeah, I think for the next time I attempt this, I'm going to do the much smaller glue gun. But the idea is just to put a small strip. That one I might have had too high. Oops. They make it seem so much easier when, but then again, they've had a lot of practice, so before they record themselves, so, but they make it so much, they look so much easier. Come on, there you go. Again. All right, last one. Ew, I just heard that, NATO. Good job. All right, last petal. All right, so we got the little fan going. You can see the strings of the, it's the thing when you're here working with the, you can actually make spider webs, I guess, out of these because it gets so stringy. Ugh. All right, let's see. Because when I saw the videos, and I watched several different videos of the ladies, these awesome ladies that are making some gorgeous, gorgeous flowers. I mean, they'll start out with the white foam, and I've seen some of the ladies drawing on them. I'm not like that. I don't think I can bring it together. How did they do? They made it seem so easy. Come together, come together, come together, come together. Okay. I don't have the glue yet, but okay. All right, let's try it. I kind of saw how it was going to come together. So, wait, let me see. Is this going on top or is it going on the bottom? So, okay, so yeah. Now I know that when I've got to change up I'll show you guys here in a second. It's a good thing this is just my practice one. Come on. Give me some glue. All right. So try it again. Bring it together without closing the hole. Bring it together. Touch. See, you can still see the hole. Peekaboo. All right. Okay. So, what do you guys think? What do you guys think? This was the goal. There's the outcome. Now, look at the way this looks from here. And then the silk flower I was trying to mimic of the plumeria. And then my version. So now I know the couple of things that I have to make sure I do, and I'm going to have to change out this petal cutout. I have to change it to make it just a tad bit wider right here, just a tad bit wider and longer. I've got to be able to make it longer, probably twice the length on this part here, because it's got to have enough room to when you bend it, because see, like right now, because they were too short, and as I glued them together, it's closing it up too much around here, and it forced some of the bending that we created, the curvature that you see in the silk flower. I lost some of that once I brought the pieces together. So, I mean, I could still heat these flowers up in is it still on? Oh. I can probably still heat these up and get it to curve a little bit more and push it out. And this one I probably had, too high, because look how that one sticks out compared to the others. So what I'm still going to try and do is I'm going to go around and I'm going to heat these up again and try to to get a deeper curve on these to make it look even more like this silk flower. All right. I had to turn the iron back on one more time. And so I'm just heating it up and curve. Give me the curve. Give me the curve. Look at that. That's what I want. I need it to stay like that. Give me the curve. So again, heat it up. I am pushing the foam into the iron to make sure, and then there. So look at these two petals. Look how it's already starting to make it look a little better with these two petals that I heated back up to give it a little bit more of that curve. Look at the way it looks here compared to the ones that once I combined it, it started to affect the curvature of it. So let's keep heating them up and see how the rest looks. But it's not bad. It's not bad at all for my practice after, what, 5 or so years. I keep getting longer on the years. Okay, that's 3. kind of pulling it to help make sure that it does give me that nice curve. All right, last one. Okay, that is so much better. That is so much better. So again, the original that I was trying to mimic. And what I just did. And I probably have to thin it out. So, but that's not bad. Let me turn my iron off. Reposition this. Hi again. Okay. When my Zooter, when she said about using a hair dryer, I do have, because I work with resin, I do have my hot air gun, and I could, but this would probably take a little bit longer, and it's just very noisy. But ultimately, because I do have a blue and red foam right here, and I want to try it again, but so I'm going to have to come up with a different cutout. I'm probably going to have to slim it just a little bit more on the edges and not make it so rounded. But the biggest thing I'm going to have to change about the cutout is to the end piece right here. It's got to be longer, because the original cutout that I made, all I was doing was tracing it from here. So that was my mistake, because there's supposed to be enough petal, the base of the petal, to cover the bottom portion. So that was my mistake. I'm not considering that when I was putting this together. So when I do a new cutout, I'm just going to slim out the petals, because even though I used this petal to create the original trace, I don't know, I guess when I made this one, for whatever reason, I was cutting it outside of the line, so I made it fatter or wider than it was supposed to be. So I'm just going to thin it out just a tad on the edges and then make this longer. So the next time I make my plumeria out of either I'm probably going to try the blue, because I love blue, the blue foam, and we're going to try again. But I say, after 5 years, I still say that's not bad. I'm probably going to finish working on this one here. I'm going to try and find something that I'm going to put in the center. Maybe I do have like one of the gems or pearl or something like that I can put in the center of this. But before I do that, I'm going to have to stick the wire through there with a little bit more of the hot glue. So it'll come out on this end. Then I'll put a little bit more hot glue and stick the gem or pearl inside in the center. And then with the wire out here, I'll take the floral tape to secure the petals here and around the wire. So eventually, I'll be able to wear this. See, right now I can't even stick it behind my ear. Okay, well, kind of. I really shoved it, but see, doing that, it's messing with the petals themselves. It's pushing them forward, so you're losing some of the, you know, the shape of the flower. So you're messing with it. So that's why I'm going to get the stem and work on that. And when I do wear it, it should be able to sit where it's not pushing the petals. So, but there you go. There's the before, what I'm trying to mimic. And then there's mine. Not bad. Not bad at all. I do have to say, from the first time I made it out of the pink one, it's so much better. It's so much better. But that's all I have for you guys tonight. Thank you guys so much for joining me and watching me make my plumeria, my pink plumeria. It's not done. It's not done. But the next time I do a crafting video, I might make another one. But one of the other crafting videos that I want to do is working with acrylic paint. I'm not a painter, but I use acrylic paint to kind of make abstract type things. So, hey, Terry. So this was my goal, the plumeria. And this is, it's not finished, but this is what I've done so far. Because I don't have the rest of the material to make this part and the wire. So then that way I can stick it behind my ear. But yeah, so that's what I was trying to copy. And that's mine. And then there's that. I'll get better the more I do it. So, but you and I, Terry, I keep saying it, and I meant to message you yesterday about it, but I need to get a hold of you sometime here soon. And so we can set up a day and time for us to go live together and do another craft session. Because that's the one I want to do the acrylic painting. I want to do my acrylic pour. I've still got Tornado playing on my laptop right now. I had you still streaming. Hey, Sunny. Thank you for popping in. Just to show you again, this is what I was trying to copy. And then this is what I made out of foam. I was just going to ask you what it's made of. So it's made of foam. The next one that I want to make it out of is the blue one. And eventually, once I get more practice, the plumeria, I say easy, but it's not easy. Especially when you're still trying to get the handle of it. But that's the plumeria. But eventually, I want to be able to make the hibiscus flower out of the foam. And because as you can see with the hibiscus, there's a little bit more characteristics to the petals with not just the shape, but the edges and whatnot. So, and I've seen a few ladies on both YouTube and TikTok who make these kind of flowers in the shape of the plumeria, I'm sorry, and the hibiscus, and different, all kinds of tropical flowers. And they're very talented, very talented. That's why I was saying they made it look so easy. I was like, I can do that. But it's not as easy as it looks. So, but this is what I've gotten done so far. I got to work on it a little bit more. But this will be my other goal. I'm wondering how that would work though, because aren't they too sensitive? I mean, because because ultimately with making the flowers, I want them to be wearable. And if it's using the crepe paper, wouldn't that they're not, what's the word I'm looking for? Sturdy enough for that? For decorations, yes, for sure. And I've seen one of my sisters do that, the hibiscus, or maybe it was one of my nieces using crepe paper and making flowers out of them. But for sure, as decorations. I don't know, it's been a while since I've seen. Okay. Same for me. I don't think I've ever, it's been a long time, probably since school, really. I've used crepe paper, or maybe for one of our family events and we were making decorations using it. But I definitely have seen that done. But I want material that we can wear. So that way they are more durable, I guess. Um, so, but that this is would be my next goal is to try and make a hibiscus. But in case you guys didn't hear from my last two live streams, it's September. Woo! It's September, and this month makes my 2-year anniversary on YouTube. So as part of my anniversary, I've set it as a goal for myself to go live every day with an absolute minimum of at least 30 minutes. So whether it be doing stuff like this, crafting, cooking, gig work, the sunsets, or just hanging out to chat, just chatting, and nothing else, that's my goal, to go live every day. So I know it's September 4th, but this is day 3 that I've gone live back to back. So thank you. And I've still got a long way to go to be able to be fully monetized. I still got 1,000 watch hours to work on. Okay, 950. I've got about 950 watch hours to work on. So it's definitely going to be a major uphill climb this month. But again, having y'all hang out with me 10, 15 minutes at a time during my live stream, it definitely helps me. It definitely helps me. You could do an overnight live where people can just come in and chat, but maybe just members only, or make sure you have enough wrenches. I thought about doing something like that. It's just that I don't have a lot of members, and I'm not pushing the memberships. So because I haven't done anything for my current members, and I feel bad about that. So that's why I don't push anything for my about people signing up to my channel, just as long as they subscribe and support me in the way of watching my videos and joining me on my live streams and things like that. But yeah, until I can actually devote a little bit more time to doing stuff for my members, then I'll do stuff like that. Because right now I just still feel bad that I've only got one members only video. That's how bad that part is. I don't do anything for my members either. It's just because they love me and we love you. Oh, Terry, that's sweet of you saying that. But that's true. But that's me. That's me. I just feel bad if they're going to be paying, even if it's 99 cents a month. I feel like I gotta do something a little extra for that. But thank you for saying that. I do appreciate that. So I think once I can get my channel fully monetized and have the weight of, getting my darn watch hours off my shoulders, then I might have a little bit more time to devote on what I can do for y'all. What I can do for y'all. Hey, Corey, good evening. Oh, and before you guys go, just to touch up on the short video that I posted last night, again, during my live stream, I told you I didn't really want to talk about it because I didn't want to give it away. But most of you guys that are here right now have probably already seen it. But if you haven't, go check it out. But still, at Terry, as you're calling him, Pepe Le Pew. Yes, honestly, it's not as bad, when I was a teenager and our neighbor had their dog was trained to attack. And my sister and I were going over to our neighbor's house because we played with the kids over there. And he happened to be, one of the kids was playing with the dog outside. The dog saw us and came running after us. And my sister, when she got scared, she took off running. When I got scared from the dog coming at us and barking, I froze. So, of course, the dog was coming straight for me, but because my sister was also screaming at the same time when she was running, actually just changed direction and went after her instead. She was okay. She did get a little bit of a bite from him, but it was kind of like that similar feeling when I saw the when I saw Pepe Le Pew, Pepe Le Pew. When I saw him, because I thought at first, oh, it's a kitty, until I saw the stripe, and I was like, oh heck no. And I was actually delivering just a couple of bags of groceries, and I was maybe about 6 steps from the door, and there was a huge row of bushes against the side of their house. And it's like the moment I saw Pepe and he saw me, we both were, I was just like, huh. Like I said, I was ready to just let go of the bags, turn and go, but my body for a moment just like, don't move. Don't move, because Lord knows if I scared him, yeah. I don't know if you guys have ever been sprayed by one, but I know I have, and I've just only heard horror stories about it, and I didn't want to become another one of those horror stories. So that's why I had to share that video. It wasn't funny at that split moment because I didn't want to get sprayed. I didn't want to get sprayed. That's why I didn't want to turn and run, because it, as a natural reaction, it probably would have tried to spray. So it disappeared behind the bushes walking along the house, which again, you got the bushes, you had the front door right here, and I was just like right here. So I was not far. I was not far from it. And again, my husband was just wondering what was going on. I happened to glance back, and he's like looking at me like, what's wrong? Wondering why I'm just standing there. And then he finally sees it, and he's like, oh, it's a skunk. And then he's like, oh, it walked into the garage. And I was like, are you sure? He's like, yeah, I walked into the garage. And so I was like, okay. Then that's when my body was like, okay, it unfroze. I put the stuff by the door, and I did the, the final steps to complete the order to take the photo and whatever. And then I quickly, while I'm still looking in the direction of where it went to make sure it doesn't try to pop back out, and just hurried to get back to the car. Oh my goodness. Really, Diana? Well, good evening. Thank you for popping in. Our son tried to spray us, but I was prepared for that. I know it's not the same. So yeah, that was the thing about that one there. And that's why I put it as a hidden danger, because, I would not wish that on anybody. I know my husband, they had a dog when he was growing up that liked to mess with anything and everything, and it messed with the skunk. And he says it was horrible. The dog comes home with it in its mouth. And I don't remember exactly, he said, how long it took to get the smell out, but yeah. And like I said, from what we hear on TV and the movies and whatnot, it's horrible. They might be small but fierce, right? Right? It's the silent but deadly. But that's why I had to put that as hidden danger, because when you're making deliveries and you're walking up to people's houses, especially when it's dark, I'm just glad it was getting dark. I'm just glad that it wasn't dark yet when we made that delivery to that house, because I probably would not have noticed it to where I was even closer. So that is definitely a hidden danger for delivery drivers, making deliveries, especially at night, because these skunks, My husband is calling on my other phone. I'll talk to you later, sweet. Okay. Thank you, Terry. Have a good night. I'll catch you later, and we definitely will talk about doing our joint live. But have a good night. But I just would not wish that on anybody. So that's why I had to put that video, and it's my recent short that I posted last night. So I just have to say, if you do make deliveries, having to go to people's houses, especially once it's dark out, be careful. Keep your eyes open, because just because you see something black and furry is going to be a cat. Just be careful, because these skunks, not all of them will have the standard striped characteristics that we would see, that we know of, because that's why I had to do a double take, because it did have the long fluffy tail, but the stripe on it was not very prominent. Because it's wild, so, and I guess it's just been, it had a hard life or something like that. That's why the stripes on it wasn't very prominent. So I'm just glad I noticed it before I got any closer. I climbed in the shower with 2 jars of tomato sauce and a bowl. Oh my gosh. Yeah, and I think one of my Ma Dukes is her name, or at least her channel name. She was talking about when they were younger, they actually had them as pets, because they were found as babies. They were abandoned. I think their mother was killed, but anyways, they took them in, and they did have them deskunked, so their spray wouldn't do anything. But that would have been interesting. But like I said, I would not wish that on anybody. So just be careful out there. It is a hidden danger. My daughter was like, "Why is it a danger?" I was like, "Have you ever been sprayed by a skunk?" I mean, those the fumes, it's designed to scare bigger predators and whatnot away. So getting that on yourself, it is a danger. It's a danger that you're going to end up having to isolate yourself, and by yourself, and even from your loved ones, because no one's going to want to be around you. You're going to be lonely. So it's going to mess with you mentally. So it is a danger. Or just like you said, Diana, taking that hard shower with tomato sauce. And that's the only thing I've seen done on TV, and what I've read about it, to be able to get the smell off of you. But you're talking about days just to be able to get that smell off. So again, I would not wish that on anybody. We grew up with a neighbor who had a pet skunk, and it was the cutest thing I ever saw. Loved, but it was distinct. I called it distinct. It did not have the standard stripes that you would see on a skunk. So, I mean, because especially once I looked it up, because when I was editing my video, I wanted to find something closer to what I saw. And it's not the standard, thick white strip on its tail, and the white strips on the side of its body. It had the patch of white on its head, and the stripe on its tail was faint, but you can tell the shape. They do have that shape about them, especially as they start to move, and they almost they kind of waddle because they have short legs. That night, well, I'm sorry that happened to you, but that's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. Oh, I think my in-laws are here now. My brother-in-law and his family are here visiting for the night. So I'm going to go ahead and end the live stream here. Again, thank you guys so much for being here and supporting my channel by hanging out, chatting with me. I really, really do appreciate it. I will be back tomorrow, because again, my goal is to go live every day for this month for my 2-year anniversary on YouTube. Oh yes, they were deskunked. Yes. Yeah. which is a good thing because it's a natural reaction. If they get scared, they're going to let the spray out. So it's, but you guys enjoy the rest of your evening, and whatever you guys are doing out there, stay safe, especially if you're not home. Until then, I'll catch you on the next video. Adios for now. Bye. And just to show you again, this is what we were doing tonight. Copying that to make that. I made it out of foam. The silk flower, the plumeria, and then this is what I made. Do I? I have to have a cloth up there because it doesn't latch, and we haven't fixed it yet. And so we do have one of my daughter's cat that likes to push that door open. So we put that up there to hopefully make it a little harder for her to push the door open. But anyways, have a good night. Adios for now. Bye, everybody.